Hello and welcome to another We Interview video here on Gamingtrend. My name is Adam Marino, and today we have a chance to talk to a creative director for Star Wars Outlaws, Drew Rechner. For those unfamiliar, Outlaws follows K-Vest, Nix, and Indy as they fight their way to freedom and a good life in a galaxy full of outlaws. The newest DLC, A Pirate's Fortune, brings back fan favorite Hondo Ohnaka, played by a legendary actor, Jim Cummings. Welcome, and thank you for joining us.
Hey, thank you so much. So nice to be here.
I loved the game since the beginning.
Oh,
I
thanks.
was really excited to see more and more stuff. The Lando edition was fantastic, and now we have Hondo Ohnaka, fan favorite, like I said, and Clone Wars and Rebels icon.
Yes.
Well, the first question that we want to ask is, we've gone through a lot with Kay and the team already. What made now the time to add notorious smuggler and part-time instigator of chaos, Hondo Ohnaka, to the mix?
I mean, Hondo's great, right? So obviously, like everyone in the team, huge Hondo fans. So that's probably part of it. But I think where Kay is on her journey, right? Because A Pirate's Fortune takes place after the main campaign. So you actually have to beat the main campaign before you're able to play this. And we wanted to really continue that journey and Kay's growth as a leader. And kind of who better to pair her with than someone like Hondo, who kind of steps into a bit of like a mentorship role, but can he be trusted? Like, what's his real motives? So we thought that was such a fertile ground for telling an interesting story.
That's a great answer, and very true, very true. Well, from the score to the blaster sounds, Outlaws feels iconically Star Wars. What was the process of working on this era specifically in the Star Wars universe, and what challenges did you maybe deal with in the process of making a story and then adding new and established characters? We've already had Jabba the Hutt, we've already had Lando Calrissian, and now we have Hondo Ohnaka. What's the kind of juggling of all of that when you're working inside of the Star Wars galaxy, and especially with things like the story team?
Yeah. So it's been such a great collaboration with the Lucasfilm team because they have this treasure trove of information, in terms of everything that's been going on in the galaxy and the timelines. And obviously on our side as well, we have people who are such big fans, and we want to do right by Star Wars, especially set in that original trilogy era. It's near and dear to all of our hearts. Like it's there's a lot of nostalgia. Like my earliest memory is actually a Star Wars memory. So, um, you know, kind of like being able to add to that legacy is such a dream come true. But to do it in the right way, right? It does require, like that back and forth, like with the Lucasfilm team and really ensuring that we get it right. That, when we bring in a character like Lando or Hondo, that it feels genuinely like them. And keep in mind too, when you meet Hondo, this is actually after, the events of like Clone Wars, obviously. So he's in a different place, right? Like he's lost his crew. He's kind of by himself. And it's before you see him, if you've seen him at Galaxy's Edge in Disneyland. So
Oh,
it
that's
was a
good to know.
really interesting kind of era to play with.
I didn't realize that you guys were also working with the stuff that's happening at Disney World with the Hondo Ohnaka there. I didn't realize that that was even connected. So
Yeah. Yeah,
that's really
everything
cool to know.
is, yeah, it's really cool.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a little bit about the characters. We've talked a little bit about the game itself. I wanted to ask you a little bit about the creation of this DLC because, some people in our audience may not understand how long it takes to make something like this and how long it takes, or like from design to creation to now implementation. So to give the audience an idea of how long DLCs take to create, such as this one, when was this first brought up in the draft room, and how long did it take from that moment of like the idea coming to fruition to our release coming up?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think because, you know, there's bits and pieces that happen really early on. Like we knew that we wanted kind of like a swashbuckling adventure, ideally with Hondo. So we really started that journey well before release. I would say months before release. Probably 6 months or something before we released Star Wars Outlaws. We knew, already that that's kind of where we wanted to head. But obviously, the details, because we were busy shipping the main game and things like that, we kind of leave it at some of the loose theming and some of the major characters like Hondo, and we kind of decided after release we would pick that back up and really focus on fleshing out a story, making sure too that like Kay's journey, like it made sense after we released the game, after we played it. We've also added some new gameplay features, and that required us to release the game. So being able to hold on to your two-handed weapons and stow them now permanently, being able to shoot from the speeder freely, like those are things where we had to release the game, right, to kind of play and see to release side by side with the story pack.
That's phenomenal. And I love that as you guys have continued throughout this process, you've added those things because, having the thing like being able to shoot from your vehicle is a huge game changer. And it also makes everything feel fresh as you continue. So that's such a great idea. And I'm really excited to play it. And I hope that our audience gets to play that as well. The last question that we have is a question that we like to ask all of our guests here. And it is, what is one memory in your time working in your industry that will always stay with you as a happy memory? It's a big question.
Yeah. There are so many different moments that I can probably name. I think maybe if I were to name maybe one a little bit more recently, and I look at Star Wars Outlaws specifically, I think maybe going to the performance capture, the motion capture of our actors for, the DLC, and really, getting to meet them and talk to them, but also like see them just work, right, and get into character. To see Umberly just effortlessly glide into being Kay, and to see the puppeteer have Nyx follow Kay around, and how natural actually that feels. It feels a little strange at first, and then it feels really normal. And then seeing Lindsay effortlessly glide into embodying Lando, and like his posture changing and all of that. I think it was just so incredible to see, because I think that was also when it felt real. Like when you play it and you see it like throughout production, of course, it starts to piece together. But it's not until you have those actors, I think, performances, and you can imbue that onto, the state of the game, where I think it really starts to come together.
I'm so happy you said that. I was so impressed seeing all like the behind the scenes stuff as we were getting little clips of everything and how much work went into this. And obviously, like, Star Wars is such a big franchise to have to jump into. And it seems like you guys really put in the work and really put in the time, and your team seems to be a lot of fans. I really loved, just personally, I wanted to thank you for the little Easter eggs that we got to see throughout. One of the ones that I found on Tatooine was Luke's friends. Like you see the little things about like, oh, he bought the ship and she told him not to, and I thought those stuff like that was crazy fun. So thank you so much. We're so blessed to have you here on our We Interview series, and everybody will be able to check out the DLC. We'll have all of the information in the description and in our article. So thank you so very much.
Great, thank you. It was great to be here.